You are listening to Wicked Psychotherapists, a podcast where two psychotherapists show you that taking care of and learning about mental health doesn't have to be wicked hard.
Hey everyone, this is Tanya.
Hi, this is Erin.
And welcome to the Wicked Psychotherapists. So today we are talking about a very relevant topic and time of year, New Year's. So we're going to get into some of the meanings around this time of year, perspectives that people give to New Year's, how they celebrate, things that we might do or not do, rituals we engage in, going out, staying up late, ball dropping, celebrating, or just another calendar change in the year. So we thought this would be really interesting to just dissect and see how different people take this time of year in and for their overall wellness, but also just how people live, how people perceive this time of year, because it certainly can have many different impacts on your mental health. So we thought we would start out, which kind of seems to be the theme of what we've been doing lately, which I think it works pretty well, but talking about just our own experiences and how we view New Year's and anything that we kind of feel is relevant to the topic. So in terms of New Year's, Erin, I was wondering, just maybe starting out when you were a kid, any memories and anything that you want to share that you do nowadays for New Year's?
Yeah, so it's funny. I don't really remember too much as a teen doing things family, but I do remember as a little kid or maybe elementary school or maybe even some middle, but staying up late, maybe watching Dick Clark, and just my mom would let us bang pots and pans at midnight if we stayed up. Who knows if it really was midnight when I was little? It could have been 10 o'clock. But
she's like, oh, yep, that clock's wrong.
Yeah. Oh no, you're not seeing it right. Let's just do it. Let me find some firework pictures. So that
well, now they have apps for that, right? To fool little kids to be like, oh, here's the countdown. I think that's pretty ingenious. I love that.
and then when I got older, going out and doing all the trying to find parties or different things like that. But I think when I was younger, it was more staying home, maybe drinking the apple juice or apple cider, whatever it is, the sparkling apple something.
The non-alcoholic.
Yeah. And just
stuff.
Being in the living room, probably in pajamas. What about you? Do you have any childhood memories of New Year's?
I mean, pretty similar. I kind of was paired together with my sisters, the twins. We were all pretty close in age. So I think we probably just watched the ball drop, kind of that. I think sometimes we could stay up till midnight. I don't really remember that or not, but I do remember just liking that and not really being into the whole, I wasn't like, oh, this is a time to party kind of thing. I stayed away from alcohol for a while as a teenager just because I thought that was my method of dealing with all the rampant alcoholism in my family, which did not prove to be effective. But I think I kind of eventually felt like, okay, I should be doing something really big and really important and fun. And I think I just kind of always felt better just kind of being like, okay, let me just make my own rituals, my own ways of celebrating. And, I always liked watching the ball drop if I did stay up. That was like Dick Clark. Yeah. That was very comforting to me. I did really like that. So definitely was not a big partier really at all, but would I try to sneak a drink when I was older here or there or something like that? Probably. I don't really remember, but I'm sure I did. But yeah, and it's very different from now, I think, because in my late 20s into my 30s, I think I did kind of do the whole trying to find a really exciting, unique opportunity. Like we were talking before, and you're saying there's a lot of pressure on this day for it to be the best day, the last day of the year. And I think, yeah, we would try to I would try to find some place to like, oh, this can be special, this can be unique, but it just always kind of felt disingenuous, and I don't know, I guess it was fun for what it was.
Yeah.
But
I mean, yes. I think in teens, I think we, like high school or whatever, try to find the party, and then 20s and stuff. It's, again, still the pressure. And yeah, it just always felt like it was like a lot of, I don't know, a lot of pressure to be somewhere or do something or to get drunk or get dressed up. And if you're single, there's pressure. If you're dating someone at the time, it's pressure. It's just, it's hard. And it's definitely my feeling about it has shifted as I've gotten older.
yeah, oh yeah, for sure. How has it kind of evolved or changed since you've gotten older? Sorry, I was trying to think of another way to say that, but that's just the way to say it, I guess. I was going to say, since you gracefully went up in age or something. Just trying to think of something.
Well, Nana's here. Well, now in my retirement home, I think I do. I like to just stay home, and I like to just watch. I do like it. It's going to make me sound like an old person, but I like watching Anderson Cooper's ball drop thing the best. I think he's very funny. But then I'll usually watch a movie or something in between and just flip back and forth or something. And sometimes we'll do fireworks in the backyard or something, like just to be redneck, I guess, or something. But it's fun. It's fun that we can, because we're in
that's
Florida.
Cool. That's like for the kids. That's a nice way for them to be in on it. That's really cool.
Yeah. But I do like to watch the ball drop, because even if it's midnight, but it just really, it's symbolic, I think.
Yeah, it marks the time. It kind of is like, okay, everyone else or some other people are watching that and are marking the time as well. And it feels, okay, we're all collectively going into this new time zone.
Yeah, we're all doing this at the same time. Celebrating this one thing, stopping whatever we're doing for this moment.
Yeah, and now that I think about it, COVID was actually, I think, a turning point where I just started to feel okay being like, I can just stay home. I don't have to search out for this perfect event or this really kind of interesting band to go see and like go do it up. Like, I think when COVID hit, I mean, we all had to stay home, right? So I was like, okay, this actually is kind of more what I prefer to do most years. There's something really cool that's maybe I would look at that, but I think I like to kind of, watch the ball drop and maybe, and I forgot about, when you brought that up, but watching movies and things like that that are kind of reminiscent of that, or just kind of cozy in that way, or about renewal. And I think actually I've been shifting over in the past few years with we were talking about kind of these rituals that we've gathered from various places that we just thought sounded really cool, that I think we both kind of engage in either New Year's Eve, or I usually do them New Year's Day. I kind of am like, you know what, I'll just wait on the first day. Cleaning for me, like I like to try and clean out and organize some spaces so it feels kind of like everything can be fresh and new. And I've recently started adapting these kind of rituals that I've read about in various places. I can't really give complete credit to them, and I'm sorry if I'm not. Maybe they're kind of collective from different places, but like washing down your door with essential oils like peppermint oil to keep away the bad spirits, and kind of just engaging in some different types of things where it's like, okay, that just kind of feels good to me, and
smells good too.
It smells good, and like you pointed out, it keeps away the ants and the critters and everything. It's just all good all around. And this past year, I actually read about one, and again, I can't credit it, and I'm sorry if it is particular to like a particular cultural or group kind of practice, but of putting coins on your windowsill for good luck and fortune. I did do that, and I actually still have them on my windowsill in the kitchen. It just kind of felt like a nice thing to do, a nice thing to reflect on, to just kind of be engaged in. But what about you? Do you have any of those kind of rituals?
Yeah, well, I do the day or two before New Year's. I try to clean and get because I have heard or read that a tradition is to clean everything, so you're starting the new year fresh or clean. I also I've heard like doing essential oils, but I haven't done the cleaning the door with peppermint. But I do put salt around the house. I'll put because I have heard that's supposed to help bless it, or just to make your house a happier place to be. So I try to do that around that time. And yeah, so I think maybe just even sit and reflect about what I want for the next year or what I had for the past year. I might do that. I don't always do that, but I might give myself permission to have that time.
Yeah, I think that's a really important aspect too, is kind of these things that we may possibly engage in where we reflect on the year or what we want ahead or what we really want to try and start engaging in to work towards goals. And that is something I think when I was younger, I used to, because for some reason, the teachers I had, they were very big about, I don't know if it was just the time, but about making resolutions.
Oh,
so
yeah.
like it would kind of be a part of that. So I think I kind of got it in my head that this is what you do around this time of year. And as I got older, I started to realize I don't really want to make resolutions. And we'll get into this a little bit more with like other people. But I personally just felt like these are not manageable. These are kind of self-defeating because they're abandoned by February. They're too large.
Right.
And I just kind of thought about, like you said, what are the things that I feel like I did well this year or I accomplished or I got over, or the things that I just got through, right? And just appreciating that, and also thinking about what are some things that maybe I want to start looking towards in the future is kind of more my process nowadays. I think, and that feels a lot better and a lot more manageable and healthier now.
It's funny when you mentioned that. I like transported back to that. I can remember going into kind of the teacher, be like, okay, like let's think of what you're going to do for this year. And it's like, as like a little kid, it's like, resolutions are you really going to make? Like, I'm not going to be mean to my sister, or I'm going to walk
I'm
the
actually
dog.
wondering, what did I write? I don't even know. Like, not like take my sister's gum. I don't know. What is that? I don't know. Like not borrow her clothes. I don't really know what the heck I would have written. I don't know.
And it seems like a lot of pressure to put on for a kid, but it also seems like a lot of pressure to put on for an adult. So, okay, well, you're all these resolutions. So I haven't seen my kids like in school. I haven't seen them come home with like, okay, this is what my resolution is. I haven't seen that. I've seen like drawings of like fireworks and stuff like that around New Year's, but I haven't seen whatever my year's resolution is.
Yeah, I think that kind of brings us into like the next, like that's a good segue into the next, like kind of what I think trends are with other people and perspectives on New Year's. Ooh, James Spader has entered the building.
Tanya, I think actually we've talked about it in past episodes, but Tanya bought me this awesome James Spader mug because I may have had a little crush on him when we were watching Blacklist. When I was watching Blacklist, I'm a collective.
I did as well. I did. Okay. I think yours was a little more intense, but I can certainly see the crush.
So maybe I'll show this in case.
There he is. He wants to be. He's like I wonder what his resolution is, or what his thinking about New Year's is. If he's listening, maybe
more
he should tell us.
Or something. Yes, James, tell us, what were you thinking in this picture?
Maybe change up the glasses every year, even though I think those are stellar. Maybe he just likes to try out a new pair every year.
Maybe.
But he should leave us a comment if he's listening. That would be great. I mean, but that I think things have definitely shifted, right, from when we were younger. I don't think I see as many people, school kids, assignments or whatever being focused on resolutions. It feels like it's more mental health, self-care friendly, where it's manageable things that maybe we just want to reflect on, smaller steps towards things that maybe we are working towards.
Yeah, and I've also heard it worded more, what are you to set your intentions? What intentions do you want to have, or what goals do you want to do, instead of what are you going to resolve, or what is your resolution? So it feels so heavy, and it feels like you're going to get in trouble if you don't complete it.
Yeah, resolutions I think they can feel a little all or nothing. If you make a mistake or if you slip up, you feel like, okay, I didn't do it, or I messed it up, so I got to wait until the next year to set new ones, or maybe I'm just kind of over that, or I feel bad about it, so I just don't want to go near the topic of goals again, or that type of thing. I think that's what ends up happening with that large scale perspective. And I think it's just, it feels healthier and better to have it on a reduced scale and smaller manageable steps, that it just feels better for our mindsets. I think for the way that most humans probably operate. I mean, everybody's different. I think you have to kind of find your way within that process to see, like, how do I navigate that? How do I manage these steps?
Right.
Like, some people can set lists every week. Some people just need to have one goal for a month. It depends. And I think that involves a lot of self-awareness and understanding yourself to know how that works best for you. So it really is, I think, a healthier shift in terms of how we look at New Year's and a fresh start.
Right. I also have heard, and this is something we sometimes do as a family, instead of trying to set goals, we'll try to say, like, what can we do, or what is something we can do for that's good, or something we can learn. And so we have done that in the past.
That's really cool. Have there been any family goals? Like,
maybe I think, like, maybe get outside more, or try to do more things together. I think, like, try to do game night, or try to watch movies together, or just different. We actually, one year, we wrote down all different things we wanted to do. It was a year of COVID. So then we didn't, so we still have it on the fridge, and we're like, oh my gosh, we still need to complete this. But it's like, we really sat and thought for like an hour or so, like, okay, well, these are things in Florida that we'd like to do that as a family. So re-up that for this year. But it's
that's nice. Family goals. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not I'm gonna, lose this weight, or I'm going to, because it always seems like a lot of goals are self-deprecating.
Yeah, or self-defeating in nature, because it's tough to, I mean, it's one thing to say, I want to try and eat healthier. I want to try to move more.
Right. I want to get stronger.
But yeah, if you set like very specific, very strict parameters that are difficult for you to achieve, you may feel like, I can't achieve anything about this, as opposed to just what you're looking for, which is to be healthier.
Right.
And to maybe up some of those goals and around health. But yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, I think that you can also have individual intentions, family intentions, work intentions. Maybe I want to try to earn a little more by doing this year, but it doesn't have to be like I have to completely reinvent myself or my career, or change up. Like you had mentioned this before when we were talking before we started recording, that sometimes people with resolutions or really lofty goals can sometimes be unrealistic, and that saying, like, I want to go from being, this person who is maybe fairly introverted to, I am going to be the, I don't know, social butterfly. Yeah. And like there's, of course there's things, it's not to say that introverted people can't do anything and everything that they want, but maybe sometimes setting it too far away from where you're at your starting point might be a little bit defeating in that way. You have to kind of set up with the smaller kind of steps along the way, and more awareness to where you're at and where you can go, instead of saying, I am going to, I don't know, this is a really extreme example, but I'm going to be a surgeon by the end of the year, and say you haven't even started medical school. I mean, come on, that's not really going to happen probably, right? That's an absurd kind of example, but something like that.
But I was actually just thinking about a positive of the New Year's resolutions, because it, again, we mentioned the collective. And so you could say, oh, well, my resolution is I'm going to get outside more. So you could have a coworker that's, okay, let's go for walks at lunch together. Or so there's a little bit more accountability, it seems, at the New Year's time for some people, because it feels like I can announce this because this is what's expected, or other people are
socially
doing this
acceptable
at the same time.
Yeah, it's that group aspect of everybody's doing this collectivism of, we're all looking at a fresh start. This is all in our minds. I feel like I'm thinking a lot about my anthropology from college, like collectivism. Any anthropologists out there, you'll know what I mean. The collective mindset of people around this time, when we all celebrate this, to say that this is something that actually motivates us and makes us feel like, okay, this is something I can think on. This is something that other people will maybe hold me accountable towards some of these steps because we're all thinking it. We're all
Right.
in the
Yeah.
same pot of soup.
Yeah. And that also can be why some people are more successful, because some people are better equipped for doing things in a group, more as a collective, where some people are better at doing things individual, or maybe their accountability is a friend or their therapist or something like that. They need just the one-on-one accountability.
Yeah, yeah, and again, that goes back to that knowing how you tick. When you may in different areas, like with your individual personal goals, like health goals, you may be better one-on-one, or you may need kind of that group exercise classes or whatever. Or in your work goals, you may kind of need more that time to yourself to kind of say, okay, I need the discipline to kind of reflect on this and to think what my goals are. It really depends on how you operate and being aware of that. And I do have to say, in therapy, a lot with my clients, not a lot, but around this time of year, that is something we do reflect on for how do you operate within managing your goals? How do you best succeed? What's your manner of motivation and productivity? Because everybody is different. There's no one set formula in that at all. And I think sometimes that can be a danger with self-help books where they're like, motivate yourself in 10 days, because they may describe only one method that may not work for you. I mean, I think nowadays books are getting better about that, or like self-help type, I don't know, programs, whatever are. But
a lot of the self-help books, they have really great ideas or intentions, but sometimes it can be very difficult if you're trying to get the motivation to do it yourself when you have struggled in the past for having lack of motivation. I mean, I've a lot of times in the past have had clients say, hey, I just read this book, or I'm reading this book. I'm like, great, let me look into it, or let me see what it's about, and then we could talk about it. And that seems to work well, because then they're still in control, because they have learned these things from the book, from the self-help book, and they still have the goals that they want. But I don't want to say I'm their accountability person, but I'm, as a therapist, able to kind of guide them a little bit with it.
Yeah. Give them feedback and guidance and kind of bounce back ideas on it. And the book gives them some, or whatever the program, whatever it is, where they're learning those principles, kind of, it gives them a little bit of structure to it. That seems to resonate with them. So yeah, I think that can be really important to being able to say, okay, this is how I can make it through this year and feel like I'm making some progress, and know that along the way, some things are going to change. You may not find some things as important throughout the year, or you just may not be able to get to them. And that's okay. Not seeing that you need to have it, all the things that you thought of at the beginning of the year or at whatever point along the way, you can pivot, you can change, you can evolve in it. And having that flexibility and mindset I think is important in that. For being able to. It's just that we have a natural set point to want to begin on New Year's, and obviously we're talking about January 1st, the Western way of celebrating. We recognize that there are other New Year's as well, but we're specifically just focusing on January 1st. But of course, there's other meanings for other times as well. And I do think that there is also, for some people, I've noticed since COVID started, people are more about possibly saying, I don't know if you've seen like kind of memes towards this, or just on social media in general, where people are saying, I survived this year, this next year is just about me. And a lot of self-care with boundaries and things where people are feeling like, I'm not going to actually waste my time feeling like I'm thinking about other people. Instead, I want to focus on how I feel good and how I can interact in the world. And I feel like there's been an uptick in that since COVID, maybe even a little bit before, but especially during COVID, because that's all we kind of had to take care of was ourselves. Like we kind of had to be in our own little pod. So maybe that's why.
Well, and that's also something with COVID. It's like the time of COVID and everyone was in their houses during that period. It seems that a lot of people started to figure out their interests and what they want to do. And so they started to set goals of, I'm going to learn how to make bread, or I'm going to learn art, or I'm going to try to be a better communicator, or start writing, whatever it is, or start a garden. And some of those goals have continued, where maybe it's like, okay, well, I'm going to want to take a class with this. might be still related to their interests and learning what they might want. And that could be a form of self-care as well. And self-care isn't always just sitting in a bath with the candles. When that's what a lot of people are like, oh, wait, I can't do that. I'm not able to do that. But it is other ways. Self-care can be finding who you are and finding out what your interests are as well.
Yeah. And I mean, it can be, some people are not comfortable relaxing. Like some people don't even like baths. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, yeah, everybody has their own way. It can be a way of that. Sometimes you may need to learn a little more about yourself, discover more things about yourself. And that can feel really, really good for who you are as a person, really good for your spirit, your soul, and evolving as a human. And the day-to-day stuff, like getting a pedicure, if that's your thing. Again, some people are not into that, right?
Yeah.
Or some people just every once in a while, or some people just look at that as, I'm going to do that just because my toenails are whatever, 5 inches long. So I got to go do that as a practicality. But it really is not something that I think can be decided by other people. It really is your own way of saying, how do I feel good about these things? And some people really dove into exploring that. They had no other choice during COVID. So they found that. Or some people had a tough time because they weren't used to that. And maybe they realized the importance of it because of COVID.
Yeah, because that is one thing too, like the introvert extrovert. So how do you and a lot of times people who are very extroverted don't really slow down. This is just a generalization, but they don't really get the chance to slow down to get to know themselves. So that sometimes it's really interesting, and that's important to figure out who we are. And a time like that, it helps both introvert and extroverts to slow down and to find out what their self-care is, what their interests might be for themselves.
Yeah, because extroverts just may kind of bounce a lot of themselves off of people. That's how they get a lot of that energy. So they may not have as much time or interest before COVID, maybe even after COVID, and having that introspection. Whereas for introverts, it's very natural. So it definitely was a time, I think, for discovery for many people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think there are so many different ways to look at New Year's in terms of it. And again, there's some people that they may just see it as a calendar change. It's just a new year. It's a new fiscal quarter. It's a new whatever that is. If that's what they want to look at it as.
Yeah, depending on who they are and what they do.
Yeah, it may just happen to be that maybe when your deductible is reapplied on your health insurance, kind of all these practicalities. And that's, of course, we have to think about that, but they may not think of it in terms of rituals or renewal or celebration, or maybe just one or two of those things. Depends on your circumstances. And we just kind of wanted to talk about some of the different aspects of how people would see that. So yeah, we'd definitely like to know what you all think. If you want to add in what it is that you do, or how maybe you've changed in your perspective, or how you haven't with New Year's, or if you even celebrate New Year's, whatever you want to share with us. We'd be very interested to hear you.
So,
all right. Well, interesting stuff. Whatever you decide to do for this upcoming 2024 year.
Wow.
Or now, I guess by the time you hear this, it will be 2024, which is just wild.
The day after. Yep. This is going to be aired, I think, the day after New Year's. January 2nd. So happy New Year's.
We hope you do. Yeah. Happy New Year's to everybody. We hope you do whatever it is that you need to do for renewal, celebration, or just to get by for the next day, and whatever makes you happy, motivated, and set to go for 2024.
Yeah.
So thanks for...
I'm going to become a surgeon this year.
You're going to... We'll see how great that works out. I won't be volunteering for surgery.
Hey, Tanya, look, I'm going to try something out on you. Yeah.
I am good. Good luck with that. So
I think mine will be more of wake up early or something.
Yeah, that seems pretty doable. I think I would like to, I don't know. I'm thinking about, there's some things that I've done that I think I'd like to do more consistently.
Yeah, I want to start getting back into, I don't know if it's a resolution or I just want to start working out again daily. I was doing it daily, and I just felt better as a human. I felt.
Yeah. That's another thing to remind yourself of, if I'm doing this because it does feel better, as opposed to I have to do it. That can be a good shift in your mindset.
Yeah, it's like you feel
for that.
stronger, and it's like, oh wait, I could do this, and then I have more energy for this, and it just feel better.
Yeah. It just makes everything kind of feel a little more balanced and motivated. But yeah, so let us know. We're interested to know how you do New Year's, if you do New Year's, what it means to you.
Yeah.
And yeah, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wicked Psychotherapists. On Facebook, we are The Wicked Psychotherapists. Subscribe and follow us wherever you currently listen to podcasts. And don't forget to write us a review. It really helps us out. If you write a review, we would really appreciate it.
Yeah. And thank you for those that have and that are sharing it with their friends as well.
Yes, that is amazing. We really love that. So thank you all. And we hope that you have a happy, healthy 2024. And don't forget, stay wicked.
And keep your mind well.
Take care, guys. We'll see you next time.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye.